All right, so good afternoon, everybody. My name is Greg Fasulo. I am the CEO of NTouch. NTouch is a smart building automation platform currently focusing on the large number of multi-site distributed facilities, portfolios that are not large centralized buildings. And what we view that we do is we enable the promise of smart energy technology in facilities that today are mostly left behind by smart building tech and the infrastructure. In particular, our clients are either operators or tenants in these facilities. They could be the landlord as well. What we enable them to do is connect the building, take data, and enable sustained reductions on energy, maintenance, and capital expenditure. And I'll focus a little bit on energy to start because energy is a great opportunity. You hear the speeches here at Realcomm. There are significant opportunities to address energy efficiency in buildings with relatively modest capital investments and process investments and very large returns. So we all know there's about 6 million commercial buildings in the U.S., about 90 billion square footage. Those buildings use a lot of energy. I actually put this slide together, 7 quadrillion BTUs, about 1.2 trillion kilowatt hours of electricity, which again, big number. How big is that? The equivalency in coal-fired power plants, it's about 360 coal-fired power plants are required to power all the commercial buildings in the U.S. Today, there's only 359 of those plants in existence. So essentially, if buildings were 100% efficient, we could eliminate all of the coal usage in the United States. Fairly audacious goal. Now, on top of that, if you look at EIA, you look at government estimates, a large portion of energy in buildings is actually just wasted. It's wasted due to inefficiencies. It's wasted due to lack of people and processes in those buildings. And while we hear a lot about smart building technology, the ability to connect the assets in a facility, the climate control, the lighting, to use data based on occupancy to drive changes in behavior in the buildings and optimize energy efficiency, the reality is electricity consumption in buildings is actually going up. So why is that? If we've got all these great technologies, if they have fantastic ROIs, why are we having issues where energy efficiency is not catching up with buildings? And the dirty secret is, most of these smart building technologies are designed for facilities teams. They're designed for organizations that have people on the ground, that have people in process to go drive change. They're not designed for the majority of buildings that do not have on-site facilities. Those organizations are distributed, typically geographically. They're centralized from a small corporate facilities team, but they simply lack the people, the processes, and the priority to focus on energy efficiency at the regional level. Now, when we think of buildings, we think of large buildings like the one that we're in, typical Class A building here where there's a hotel or it's an office, very large square footage buildings with significant infrastructure. But the reality is that is just a small portion of commercial buildings. Most commercial buildings are actually small. Less than 1% of buildings by building count are greater than 200,000 square feet, and it only represents 20,000 or 20% rather, of the available square footage in buildings. What are these smaller buildings? Well, they're buildings and services that you know well. They are retail stores, they are restaurants, they are health and fitness chains, they are financial services. The small facilities that are distributed geographically that have very unique pain points, very unique operational priorities from a large building that has on-site facilities and can be operated in a different way with a smart building technology platform. Many of these organizations do not have the on-site facility team. They've got a remote team. If it's a 1,000 location enterprise, a health and fitness chain, you do have people in corporate who are thinking about energy efficiency. They're thinking about investments in technology. But locally, they rely on essentially maintenance people. Occasionally, you'll have regional techs or a regional facility person. But the people who are thinking about energy and efficiency are not on site at the buildings. In addition, there's a trend to rely on outsourced services. You may have an on-site maintenance tech. You probably rely on somebody that provides IFM to actually do the work in your facilities. So an organization in charge of keeping the lights on, keeping that facility running, but the line item that they touch on maintenance is a very different line item for a strategic line item like energy. So they're fundamentally disaligned with an incentive to reduce energy consumption. And then you rely on the manager. So the P&L typically rolls up to the regional manager, the local manager, the store manager. That individual, to some degree, has visibility to energy inefficiency because it's in their P&L, but they have much bigger priorities running the organization, dealing with staffing and the top line issues at that location. To put that in perspective, a Navigant study of multi-site operators in 2016, essentially talking to folks, and these people have building automation systems, they've got a range of technologies. Roughly a quarter felt that they had a smart building technology strategy for their organization. So even though they've adopted a building automation system or a BMS or an energy management system in the past, they're disconnected assets and they really didn't feel they had a connected smart building technology strategy. 60% were aware of the pain point. They're aware of energy. They're aware of sustainability challenges. They're looking to do better and operate more efficiently, and they're just now starting to evaluate what they want to purchase. And over half of them, when they're surveyed, will tell you they'd actually like to outsource this of the service. So what they're telling you is they also realize we have other priorities as we're outsourcing non-core services. Energy management, optimization of our energy footprint, it's probably something we're not the best at, and we're looking at providers that can do that for us as a service. So that's where EnTouch comes in. What do you have to do to solve this problem? Well, at heart, it's not a technology, it's not a hardware, it's not a systems level problem. It's a holistic software and services problem. The buildings may or may not have a connected system. You need to deploy some way of connecting and accessing those, the equipment in those facilities. The buildings, when they're connected, you've got a commission. So even if you connect a system to this building, you've got to know the various conference rooms, you've got to know where occupants are, you have to know how that building is supposed to occupy. Think about doing that over a suite of outpatient healthcare clinics that are all different in size, have different assets on the roof, have different operating hours in different parts of the country. How do you deploy? It's got to be very low cost, very high quality, has to be done with software. Now I've connected that building. I've got this fire hose of data and all this great information coming in. If I configure email alerts on every time there's a problem, the next thing I know is my email box is filling up and I turn off the alerts. So there's got to be a process that you can take that data coming in, you can analyze it, and you can quickly enable support for the ongoing operation of the facility. It has to be integrated. So I've got a services provider. I've got an IFM provider. They are the boots on the ground. They've got the work order system, the CMMS that I use. Any new solution cannot be a point solution that requires additional work. To extract value, it has to be integrated with the existing workflow. That's probably the most important point on this slide. Most legacy systems were independent point solutions. They were not integrated, they were not open, and essentially people have deployed these systems and they're a little bit stuck. How do I extract value out of what I've already invested? They're very basic users, so it's got to be very easy to use. And then ultimately, to affect change in these distributed facilities, you don't have a facility team that can optimize HVAC temperatures or do maintenance initiatives to try to improve the efficiency of the rooftop units. The systems have to be autonomous. They have to be able to adjust, they've got to be watched, they've got to react based on user behavior, and ultimately affect the change to drive real change in energy. So EnTouch does this through a software platform. Today we've got about 50,000 of our systems deployed in the US, leading multi-site operators. We start with the ability to deploy and commission. We are a software platform, so this is third party. Third-party tech shows up on site though. He's got the EnTouch app on his mobile device. He can install our platform, he can connect to the existing assets, and then we can remotely commission that facility. Now we've got a high quality installation and we're collecting data and we're streaming it to the cloud. Well, we can start doing things with it. So we collect that data, we analyze that data, we apply machine learning, we help you optimize the operation of the building autonomously. And now as a facility individual, you've moved from having no intelligence of what's going on to having real-time data, and the reactive tasks that are associated with that data, we've integrated with your third-party services provider. And ultimately, you can take this organization, you can start peeling the onion, you can start figuring out opportunities to optimize and continuously improve. So what we enable in organizations that traditionally were reactive, their maintenance and support, they're keeping the lights on in these facilities, but they don't fundamentally have the ability to optimize. We've transformed that facility organization into one that can be strategic, that can be thinking long-term, and frankly, can be pulling levers to optimize and reduce energy in those facilities. So in addition to the operational benefits, and most of our customers are the facility organization and corporate, they love the fact that now they've got an automated enterprise. Ultimately, the business case is driven by energy because that is a large line item to share. So how much? Our average customer today saves about 13% on their energy bill, not bad. It's about 200 million kilowatt hours and over 4,000 tons of carbon that we are saving today on an annual basis across our clients. And what they really like is that's equivalent to about $20 million a year of economic benefit. So that's EnTouch. We enable, and frankly, we deliver on the promise of smart building technology in multi-site organizations. So great, thank you very much for your time.